Hello everyone. I'm Colin Smith, a member of the leadership team, and welcome to our mentoring session. Our team is the Forex Superstars People Helping People. We're headed by Ron Palmer, who should be joining us at some point, with the help of a very committed leadership team. Some of us are on the call here today, so I'd just like to introduce them. We have Terry, who joins us from Amway with his experience there. Gabe over in Australia. Stephen in Japan. And I think that's who we have from the team now. And Ron Palmer, of course. Okay, so today we're going to kick off with a couple of great videos, training videos, get some feedback on that, and followed by some stories from our members who are regulars on the call, so you can see how this business has impacted their lives. Then we'll do a role-playing session where you'll get to buddy up and learn on the job. Okay, we'll finish off with a Q&A session. And we'll try to keep this within an hour. Okay. So before we start, can I ask you all to mute your mics, please? And we'll kick off with the first video. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so this one is called The Parable of the Pipeline. And I apologize for the quality of the graphics, which is not very good, but very good message.
Hello, my name is Burke Hedges, author of the best-selling book, The Parable of the Pipeline. I open my book with a story about Pablo and Bruno, who take two very different paths in their quest for financial independence. What you're about to see is the delightful animated story of their adventure. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy the life-changing lessons in the Parable of the Pipeline.
Far away, in a small village, near a beautiful valley, lived two friends, Pablo and Bruno. They were both young and dreamed of a better life for themselves. They'd often discuss their dreams about how they would become the most successful men in the village. They weren't afraid of hard work, and they searched for opportunities to help realize their goals and achieve their dreams. One day, an opportunity presented itself. The mayor of the village decided to hire two people to bring water from a spring up on the mountain, across the valley, back down to the village. They were to be paid based on the amount of water delivered to the village. Bruno and Pablo enthusiastically got to work. Every day, from morning till evening, they carried buckets to and from the spring. They worked hard, carrying water to the village. In the evening, they'd return home with their day's wages. Bruno was satisfied with his work and the money he earned. He was sure that with this work he could achieve his dreams. Bruno thought that to increase his wages he could use bigger buckets to bring more water each trip. He believed with a larger income he would soon be able to buy a cow and the house that he dreamed about. Now Pablo was not satisfied. At the end of the day, his back and hands ached, and he was exhausted. He was looking for an easier way to earn more. One day an idea occurred to Pablo. He imagined building a pipeline to deliver the water from the mountain spring to the village. With this pipeline, he could get more water to the village without carrying buckets back and forth from the spring to the village. Soon, he got very excited about his idea and began to plan. Pablo, of course, shared his idea with his friend Bruno and asked him to join with him to work on and help build the pipeline. Bruno thought the idea was crazy. All Bruno could think about was what his money could buy today and how to get it quicker. He felt that building a pipeline would slow him down and delay him in achieving his goals. Instead, Bruno got bigger buckets and went more often back and forth fetching water. He was sure that with this method he could make more money. Pablo decided to build the pipeline on his own. He understood that it would not be easy to build, and it would take time to complete the pipeline. Pablo knew that it could take several years to finish, but he set his mind on his goal. Every day he worked and carried water like before. But on weekends and during his spare time, he worked hard to dig in the rocky soil and build his pipeline. In the first month, there was little to show for his work. Bruno and the villagers laughed and teased him. They called him Pablo the Pipeline Man. During this time, Bruno's income doubled. He already bought a cow and a bigger house. His lifestyle changed. He now spent time after work in the bar, enjoying his hard-earned wages from delivering water. What Bruno didn't realize was that his body was starting to stoop from carrying the heavy buckets every day. His face looked worn and his body tired. Soon, he began to carry less and less water due to the wear and tear on his body. Month after month, Pablo worked. Soon a year passed, and then a second year. Finally, Pablo finished his pipeline. He now used his pipeline to deliver water to the village instead of carrying buckets. Pablo was now earning more money than ever before. The water continued flowing to the village, while Pablo wasn't working. While he slept and ate, the water flowed. Pablo was happy and proud of his insight, persistence, and hard work. Now his income flowed as long as the water flowed through his pipeline. The story of Bruno and Pablo is a reflection of life. Their jobs symbolize what most people do to earn money. Bruno gets his money using buckets. He goes back and forth, carrying his buckets from the spring to the village in exchange for money. To increase his income, he either has to go more frequently to the spring or to use larger buckets. It's common in real life to increase our income by working harder. For example, working overtime or getting a second job. We also increase the size of our buckets by accepting a higher paying position, which often includes spending more time on the job. Most of us exchange time for money like Bruno. We know that every person has only 24 hours in the day and that it's not possible to use all our time to work. The most difficult time comes when we can no longer exchange time for money due to age, health, or other reasons. Then our income stops. Now let's review what Pablo did. Very wisely, Pablo did not exchange all of his time for a limited income, but he used some of his time to build a pipeline. He knew that the pipeline would bring ongoing income as long as the water flowed. An ongoing income that multiplied the time he worked each day. Pablo knew that someday, maybe because of age or health, he would no longer be able to exchange his available time for money. Pablo knew that if he could make his idea of a pipeline work, then he only has to do the hard work of building the pipeline. After the pipeline was completed, Pablo was able to monitor and maintain the flow of water to ensure that his income will continue. Pablo has shown us that to earn an income, we don't always have to directly exchange time for money. There really are better ways. How about you? Are you still like Bruno, who directly exchanges time for money? Or do you want to be like Pablo, building and maintaining a pipeline for ongoing income?
Right, very powerful message, I think, there. In this business, we're all trying to build a pipeline. In fact, we have a pipeline already built for us to use. Anyone like to give their comments or feedback on that video? Just feel free to jump in.
Yeah, it's a good indication of how you can put in, a little bit of effort at the start and then tap into an ongoing income resource, just by being a little bit smarter about how you step back and look at ways of tapping the resource or tapping that, how you could create a passive income to better benefit yourself at a later stage when things are not you're not at your strongest, or it's great little video. It's nice and simple and gets a really good message across, I think.
Great, yeah, totally. And I think at the end where is it? I forgot which one. Bruno is getting sort of old and sort of he's got his crutches. He's not in his great health. One day we'll have to retire. We do want money coming in when we can no longer work. So that's a very good point. Yeah. Anyone else?
I like the way that Bruno
Karen?
kind of had a strategy of what he was going to do instead of he used his time to think about it and put it into action.
A plan.
Yeah, he had a plan, and then he carried it through, even though, and he was patient to watch that grow and build it, and he did work, but he got it in the end. So I really love that.
Great, yeah, thanks, Karen. And and all the while he's doing that, other people are laughing at him. What are you doing? But he had his plan and he kept at it. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I was going to say about the mocking of, which is other things, isn't it? I mean, it's a true reflection of what we tend to go through as well. People, mocking you and saying, which
what are you doing? You know, doing that pyramid sort of thing or thingy or whatever those sort of things that they tend to say and make fun of it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, you're going, you know, you're putting in the hard work. Yeah, they'll be mocking you, but later down the line, they'll be still working hard, and you'll be reaping the benefits and doing the things that you want to do in terms of financial freedom.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Very good. Yeah. And I think at the beginning, like say if we're on a $300 pack or something, and we're getting like $2 a day, maybe to the outside it does look kind of ridiculous. Like, well, what are you doing this for?
Oh,
but you know, one day,
yeah, of course it does, doesn't it? You know what I mean? $2 a day. You're not going.
we'll be
but they don't
laughing at that.
understand. Yeah, but they don't understand. It takes time. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like the $2 a day. So if you're not doing something that is giving you a passive income, then the person that's not that person's spending $2 a day on a coffee or something.
Right.
Where
absolutely.
Down the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just gone and spent $2 on a beer at the pub, and then Pablo's just made $2 in the time that it took him probably to get from his house to the pub.
Right. Yeah. Good point. Okay. I want to push on because we got another video to get to. Kind of similar theme. This is about the 80-20 principle. Okay. Very famous speaker, Brian Tracy, okay, who I'm sure many of you know.
Ask for the salary you want. Ask for the responsibility. Ask for the job you want. Ask for the salary you want. Ask for the responsibilities you want. Hello, I'm Brian Tracy, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of the most helpful concepts of time and life management. It's called the 80-20 rule. Now, the 80-20 rule is also called the Pareto principle, named after its founder, the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, in 1895. He noticed that people in society seemed to divide naturally into what he called the vital few, or the top 20% in terms of money, property, and influence, and the trivial many, or the bottom 80%. Later, he discovered that virtually all economic activity was subject to this same principle, in that 80% of the wealth of Italy during that time was controlled by 20% of the population. We can take Pareto's 80-20 rule and apply it to almost any situation. In particular, we can apply it to goal setting and productivity. According to this principle, 20% of your activities will account for 80% of your results. That means if you have a list of 10 items to accomplish, 2 of those items will turn out to be worth more than the other 8 items put together. The sad fact is that most people procrastinate on the top 10 or 20% of items that are the most valuable and important, the vital few that account for all your success, and instead they busy themselves with the least important 80%, the trivial many that contribute very little or nothing to their success. So here's what you should do in order to effectively apply the 80-20 rule to goal setting and to your overall productivity. First, take a piece of paper and write down 10 goals. Then ask yourself, if you could only accomplish one of the goals on that list today, within 24 hours, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on your life? I ask this question of my clients all over the world. What is your most important goal in life right now, which you need to know, by the way, if you want to be successful? Then pick the second most important goal. What you'll find is that after you complete this exercise, you will have determined the most important 20% of your goals that will help you more than anything else you do. Second, you should work at those goals that you have chosen all the time. You often see people who appear to be busy all day long, but seem to accomplish very little. This is almost always because they're busy working on tasks that are of low value or no value, while they are procrastinating on the one or two activities that can make a real difference to their companies and to their careers. The most valuable tasks you can do each day are often the hardest and most complex, but the payoff and rewards for completing them can be tremendous. They can actually change your whole future. Before you begin work, always ask yourself, is this task in the top 20% of my activities, or is it in the bottom 80%? The rule for this is simple. Resist the temptation to clear up small things first. That's the greatest killer. We become so involved in little things, and little things multiply. They just become more and more, and at the end of the day, you're exhausted and you've accomplished nothing. If you choose to start your day working on low-value tasks, you'll soon develop the habit of always starting and working on low-value tasks. You'll be like the horse that pulls the wheel around in a circle all day, never makes any progress. Finally, I want to tell you about a study that's just been done about the attitudes of rich people versus poor people with regard to goal setting. What they found is that 85% of rich people have one big goal that they work on all the time. Only 3% of poor people have a big goal and they don't work on it very much. So if you want to be wealthy, do what wealthy people do. Pick one big goal and work on it all the time. And if you do, it will change your life. Now, before we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with a thought to share with your friends and followers. It is this: when your goals are clear, you will come up with exactly the right answer to achieve your goals at exactly the right time. So those are my strategies for applying the 80-20 rule to goal setting. If you haven't seen my other videos about goal setting and increasing your productivity, take a look. Now, I'd love to hear from you, so my question today is, do you use the 80-20 rule for goal setting and time management? And if you do, what changes have you noticed in your life? Leave a comment below, and I'll be sure to follow up with you. Thanks for watching, and remember, if you want to change your future, take action, and take action now. To learn more about goal setting, download my 14-step goal setting guide by clicking the link on the screen or in the description below to help you get on track with your goals.
Home. There's no place like it.
Right. So another great video. I think there's some kind of overlap in the themes there. Does anyone have an example of how they apply the 80-20 principle in their life, or can they see like the one big goal, like Brian Tracy was talking about, that would make the biggest impact? Anyone want to share on this?
Well, I'm invisible. Well,
David, yeah.
yeah, I had to set myself up so I can be seen. What I've done is I've did what's known as my method of operation for every day, and I immediately go through the notifications to see who friended me, because I have to send out to other countries other than US and Canada. So once I see that I friended, I then go through Ron Palmer's system of, of how to, chat with them just to get them up and running. And but then, while you're waiting for them to answer back, to continue looking for people in other countries, because that seems to be the number one, is to build, to build your team.
Great.
So that's my number one priority, is to try to find people in other countries other than Canada and US.
Excellent. Yeah. Building the team is the fastest way to grow in this business. And I think also, as you say, having a plan for your Facebook messages, because that can be a time sink. If you don't strategize it, you just spend all your time doing messages without any real purpose or result. Yeah.
You're just spinning your wheels and going nowhere.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Thanks, David. Stephen, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, it goes along with self-management. We do have a lot of other stuff that we're doing. Like I have a full-time job. We have to be able to manage our time so that we can, like that, make sure that at least the 20%, that stuff that we're doing will, what's the term? Down the road, it will lead to greater results. You remember that book that we were recommended to read last year? I can't remember what it was with TLM. What was the
Slight Edge?
A Slight Edge.
The Slight Edge.
The little actions we do right now, they have huge impact later. It just grows and grows and grows. So we have to use that short time that we have for free to make sure we get a bigger result down the road, down the line.
Great. Yeah. Thanks, Stephen. And that's another great principle. Stephen mentioned the slight edge. I'll just stick it in the chat. How little changes over time can build into big things down the future, whether that's positive or negative in your life. Raymond, you're waving at the camera.
Yeah, I was in a company about 10 years or so ago, and Brian Tracy was my upline. It was a company called Our Learning Global, and that was at the infancy of YouTube. So YouTube kind of took it over because it was a personal development company. And his focus on training his team was on prospecting, presenting, and following up. So that was 80% of the activities. And he had the fastest growing team in the company.
Wow. You were mentored by the best, Raymond.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Excellent. Yeah. Great stuff. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Yeah, so the Slight Edge, that is authored by Jeff Olson, if you want to check that out. Great book. Okay, sorry, Gabe?
Sorry, just quickly. It's funny because, we've got a goal setting. I think in the last couple of weeks, especially on the Ray's calls, a lot of it has been on goals, isn't it? I think a lot about goals. The goal seems to be a massive thing for success.
Right. Yeah. Setting your goals, sticking to your goals. Yeah. Reaching your goal and then moving to the next goal.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah, absolutely. Big thing.
Okay. Well, I'd like to introduce some of the leadership team who are here with us today. If you could take the mic briefly and just say when you started with CFX, what pack you started on, your progress, how many you've recruited, what pack you're on now. Just keep it short. Okay, so Terry, would you like to kick off?
Right. Okay. Before I do that, reiterating the Slight Edge, I had that book for quite a while, and they do a 3 CD series to it as well, which is my morning listening anyway while I'm having my breakfast. It's very, very good, having the concept of the Slight Edge going in all the time. But okay. I started. I've been in network marketing, a couple of companies. where before the online section of it, where just hard graft was what got you where you had to go, and I made some money. Then I went on to online, and then it was not. It was 20/80, 20% success and 80% failing. With the company's fault, really. So when I was shown this, I had a thought about it, and it's possible. It was a very good friend who I did respect very highly. He's in this business, Andy Ogden, and who was in one of my previous networks. And so I said, okay, well, I'll just dip my toe in the water and see what happens. And I started on a 500 pack, and I didn't do anything for 12 weeks except sit there and see that the passive income would work, because there aren't many businesses out there where you're going to get passive income for doing nothing. So I literally just twiddled my thumbs for the first 12 weeks. And in fact, I didn't even plug into one of these training meetings in those first 12 weeks either. I just said, let's see what happens to it. And I was impressed. I was impressed with the growth. It was slow, slower than what I wanted it to be, but I think that happens to everybody. And then I plugged into the meetings, decided to share with a few people, started building a team. Now I'm just on a 1K pack now, but I'm just very, very close to a 2K pack. I've got a team of 15. And it's building it in the way the Slight Edge says. It's moving on, it's growing, and I'm enjoying it.
Great, yeah. Thanks for sharing.
So can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah. So how much of your time? So if you were to, if your day's 100%, how much of a percentage of your time per day would you dedicate to the team of 15?
Not enough is the answer. Fortunately, my main aim was just to introduce. Yeah, I do. I ring them up once a week. I don't believe I think if you push people, you actually push them out. You don't push them in.
Oh, yeah.
And we're friends and we work together. And I just literally ask them what their goals are. How can I help them? And if they're not ready to move on yet, that's fair enough. But I'm always there with them. I send them an email every Sunday after the bonuses come in, to keep them updated with what's going on and the meetings and the links to the meetings. But fortunately, one of the people I introduced, an ex-policeman who's an ex-networker, he's got a team. He's got 7 on his front line now already, and he's only been in about a month or so. So it's finding, you don't know who's going to do it, but you're there prepared to help everybody. I don't do a lot of time to it, in actual fact. I'm a director of my own company anyway, another company, and that takes a bit of time. But I could say my shortfall is I don't do enough. I could do a lot more than I'm actually doing. But literally, probably, I think Ron talks about 5 hours a week, 40 minutes a day on average. I'm aiming to get as high as that if I can.
Oh wow, it's a percentage. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you for that.
Okay, my pleasure.
Great. Okay, let's move on to Gabe, please.
Yeah, sure. I've been goodness me, I started in November, late November last year. So and I started on a 300 pack, and I think what most people do is we just test the waters for a bit. Is it really getting, do you actually get paid? You test the waters for it, and then you realize, hey, and I think I started plugging into the meetings with Ray, and then I started to see what was going on, and I said, wow, okay, maybe I should get started and get it going. So now, when you think, look at it now, I have now a team of almost 50 now. So, and when you look at that, almost 50, I'm on this 7. I think I'm now on this within the 7K, on the 7K pack, and and I just look at it and every time I think to myself, man, this is just a start. You know what I mean? I just thought to myself, but And again, you know, when look, just alluding to what Sean was asking there, you know, now I should be giving it a bit more of my time. You know, I know there was a period where I actually did slack off a bit because of moving it, you know, moving house, stuff like that, getting all that busy, things like that. So I didn't spend much time on the actual business itself. But you know, now I'm trying to focus and you know, looking at still looking at my warm prospects, not as much, but definitely looking at the cold prospects as well. So that's what we're doing. So yeah, it's just all I can say is just a great journey. Yeah,
that's excellent progress. Yeah. Okay, and Stephen, would you like to tell us your story?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So I was doing network marketing about 15 years ago with a company called Mona V. So I learned all about network marketing and got a lot of training and a lot of the skills and the stuff that we do. It carries over depending on what your product is, what your company is with network marketing. So when Colin was nudging me and nudging me and nudging me and nudging me about CFX, and I kind of put him off for a couple weeks. When I finally got a good look at it, I was excited at the potential because I had already seen successful network marketing company and product just go really bonkers 15 years ago. So I looked at this and said, I can see that happening with this. So I jumped in and I initially started with a 500 pack. Since then, I've upgraded to a $1,000 pack. And I guess I'm a little bit like Terry. I have a 1K pack. I have half his team. I have about 7 in my team. And I'm just doing things a little bit, honestly, I'm doing things a little bit differently because it's what I enjoy. I'm making videos on YouTube and I'm talking about my CFX progress on YouTube, thinking that because I look at other YouTube videos and I see where they started a year ago and now they have hundreds and even thousands of people that are subscribed and watching their channel. I'm hoping down the line, maybe a year from now or a couple of years from now, people pick up my videos and what I'm doing, and I can reach out as using that as one way. And the other thing I'm doing with the help of Colin is I'm living in Japan now, so we're trying to translate everything from English into Japanese. And I also have a lot of connections from South Korea because I lived there for 8 years. So I'm trying to build this up in Japan and Korea, where it has its own language and cultural differences too that we're working on. So I'm trying to take that approach to it. And yeah, I just think it's fantastic. Yeah, that's all I have to say right now. So I'm very excited about it.
That's very smart. Very, very smart.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Stephen. And that's the pipeline. That's building the pipeline in Japan and Korea. Okay.
Yeah.
Please subscribe to YouTube if you haven't already. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, Stephen has a great YouTube channel. So yeah, stick it in the chat, and anyone please check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, moving swiftly on. Okay, so recent sessions we've been doing this buddying up, where we're going through John Cania's system for prospecting, where you say, hey, can you do me a 10-minute favor? And you get them to watch a couple of videos. Regulars on the call will be familiar with what we're doing. Okay, let's start with a bit of social interaction. I find with experience, kind of like not too much, not too little. It's a kind of Goldilocks thing. If you dive straight in, when someone dives straight in with a sale to me, it just puts me off completely. It's just spam. It's just you know, too pushy. But when they sort of like meander, I had someone the other day who was asking me, oh, you know, how are you? How's Japan? How's the Corona situation? How's your work? And I was like, I don't even know you. And, you know, it just, it threw me off. I was like, look, I know you're trying to sell me something, you know, let's get to the point. So I find this kind of middle ground is good there. And we want to get them to watch the videos and get their feedback on that. So I'd like to try something a little bit different because of the numbers in the room. We're going to try and use breakout rooms. Okay, so I'm going to split up into small groups. In each group, there'll be at least one member of the leadership team or one experienced person to guide us through. And then in pairs, working through a conversation. One is the CFX member, the other is the prospect, and you're going to try to bring them on board or at least get their interest. Okay. So I'm just going to set this up now. This is new territory. Let's see how this would work.
You got to set up half the rooms of the actual people. So we have 12 in here. You got to set up 6 rooms.
We might make them a little bit bigger. And Karen and David are on one. So let's
have 3 in a room. You mean? Oh, I see. Yeah. Or just make some extra rooms and you can move the people around that you want to.
It's done. Okay, so please just join the room that's selected, and in about 5 minutes or so, I'll call you back and be monitoring. Okay.
I leave them alone. You know, just leave them alone so they can have a look. And then they'll come back and start asking a few questions. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And unfortunately, I've not got an awful lot of experience, so I pass them up to Janet.
What questions do you have? Do you have any questions about it?
It seems too good to be true. And not so sure about the recruiting bit. Do I have to do all this, or can I just sit back?
Well, go ahead.
Hey, Colin.
Jumping in there.
So what's the go with this? What are we going to do?
Oh, I thought Terry would know at least. So yeah, two people can have a conversation. One is the CFX member, the other is the prospect. So just imagine that you're reaching out to someone on Facebook or LinkedIn. How would you start the conversation? How would you steer it towards them watching the videos? We're just going to do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
If you're going to use Facebook or LinkedIn, I think someone else better do it because I don't do that. So I'm still on a warm market.
All right. Do you want me to try?
You can do a warm market version if you like. That's fine. Yeah.
Sure. I think because most people, they start off, they have a warm market, just trying to think of some of the recent people I spoke to. I just spoke to somebody the other day. And it was purely to make contact with them again. I hadn't spoken to them in about 7 years, I suppose it was. And he just was so surprised.
That's right. So yeah, if you remember me from school back in the day, about 20 odd years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was the one who was when we used to be in this same class, and you used to do some crazy stuff, and and I used to just keep laughing and follow along with it. And I was the kid who used to, you know, especially when they had my name. If you remember my name, they used to make fun of my surname because they, you know, they couldn't spell it. But anyway, there you go.
How do you pronounce your name, Gabe, by the way? If I may ask.
Mabadiev.
Mabadiev. Okay.
Yeah, Mabadiev. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, so so the reason for my call, anyway, is I've got something that you know, I think you'll be, you know, maybe interested in. So I thought maybe it'd be great if, you know, would you like to take a look at it?
Okay.
So the main thing is that would you be willing to do me a favor and have a look?
Oh, and now we're back.
Right. Okay,
We're
welcome back. Sorry, maybe that wasn't, I didn't set that up as well as I could have done. Some people didn't know what to do. A little bit short, yeah.
Yeah, we got thrown up there.
First time for everything. How did you find that, the small groups compared to the big session? Any
Interesting.
Victoria? Yeah, interesting.
It's good for people to be able to ask individual questions of other people.
Yeah. Okay.
Not have to worry about, you know, a time restriction on it as much.
Right. Yeah, I could have given you a little bit more time.
Yeah, I think we kind of rushing out. I was just figuring out what to say to make it really quick. But anyway, and then he asked me, and then David asked me a question. He goes, do I know you? I went, gosh.
How do you respond to that?
I'm like, never had that one.
I thought it was a good experience, but we didn't establish in the beginning if these were old friends or new friends. And it's a totally different conversation. Because I had somebody call me up from Facebook Messenger out of the blue, and I answer the phone and I'm going, hello? And it says, this is Kevin. I'm going, do I know you? I seriously didn't know him. And he says, hi, how are you doing? I said, I don't know you. How do you know? And I said, look, I'm cooking dinner. I can't talk to you now. You know, I just made an excuse to get off the phone because I didn't want to, he hadn't established anything about our relationship. Just my 2 cents.
But even old friends, you may not, you know, they call you out of the blue, you may not recognize their voice, and you really don't know, you know.
On the phone, that's kind of weird as well. I mean, as a message, it's okay, but on the phone, it would kind of
out of the blue. I hear the Facebook phone going off.
I think we need to practice. I think it's good to get a phone voice, because people do like to hear your voice, even if it's on, instead of texting in the messenger, whether it's Telegram or Facebook Messenger, and to make it more smooth. I know, I think I have to practice myself too.
Someone messages me, or someone tries to call me while from Messenger without having prior consent. I do not answer it. Simple fact. That's just it's just a policy. If they haven't messaged you first and said, listen, you know, I want to call and have a meeting at this point in time, why are they calling you in the first place?
Yeah,
so
fair enough. Yeah.
If you don't know, don't go.
That's right. That's an old friend, you'd say, oh, hi, whatever, John, you know, good to hear you. But if it's a surprise person, you're right, I shouldn't answer.
Yeah.
She didn't fix her phone like mine will only ring through if you're on my list of people, my contact list in the phone. If you're not in that contact list, it'll only go to the recording to leave a message.
Yeah, I've got the Messenger app on my computer, so when people call me, it comes through on the computer as opposed to the phone. What I tend to do is I'll reject the call, and then I'll just send them a quick message. Sorry, I'm busy. How can I help you? I'll get back to you when I'm free. I'm working at the moment. And you see what they come back to you with, because that will let you know if they're actually genuine or not. Because
yeah, true. Good point. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
If they don't come back to you, that's an instant block. If they come back to you, it's like, oh, I'm an old friend from wherever. Well, you know what's going on.
You know what? Sometimes you get a I don't know if you get a message. Usually, I think someone just sends you a message and says hello. You don't want to send you a text message and say hello. That's all you get. You know for a fact there's something coming.
Yeah, I get that all the time. And then
I just send back hi. see where they go from there. If they send hello, I send hi. If they send hi, I send hello.
Yeah, and then it can go on like that, back and forth.
Yep.
From my cousin's partner, over the weekend, got this message. Hi, how are you doing? And he actually passed away 3 weeks ago.
Oh,
wow.
So I haven't answered this fella yet. It's like, oh God. I said, I was really going to say, are you just chatting to me from heaven or what? You died 3 weeks ago? See what they said.
No, which one of the family is it?
I'd say somebody has duplicated his account. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd try to look at finding out who that is.
Yeah. I'll report him. It's a scammer, obviously. Because
Facebook ain't going to do anything.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think we all have to watch out for scammers, but also it ties back to the 80-20 principle as well. So I just find it's a waste of time. It's like, why am I spending my time with these people, And I could be doing something else. I could be building my business. So.
Delete and block.
The only time I do it is when I actually want a bit of fun. It's like, yeah, I'm going to screw with this person. It's time to have a bit of a joke.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Oh, are you chatting to me from heaven or what?
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
I mean, 3 weeks ago? That's really weird. Is he chatting to me now?
No. Don't mention that you died. It's like, oh, geez, where are you at the moment, bro?
Yeah. You could have been fun, mate.
This guy that kept calling me. I finally sent him, I asked him to do me a favor and he said yes. And I sent him my landing page yesterday. Who knows?
Usually that puts support. Yeah,
that's usually went into witness protection.
Well,
someone keeps calling you, then you go into Messenger and you block that person. Or you go into Facebook and block them. I mean, if they call you and you keep refusing them, it's basically an invasion of privacy. If they can't respect your privacy, then in the long run, is that the type of person that you want to work with?
No,
no, that's
so, yeah. Their behavior dictates whether or not you actually want to work with them. So observing that behavior is the key factor.
It's like Pablo and Bruno. Which would you want to work with?
Right.
Definitely the dude that wants me to drag my ass out and carry buckets all day. Seriously, he can buy a cow. Why couldn't he buy a donkey to carry and a cart to carry them back down the hill?
Good point. Yeah. We're just past the hour now. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off. Before we wrap up, does anyone have any questions they want to ask? David?
No, that's just nothing, Huh?
Right. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anyone know what happened to Ron?
I think he's delegating. He's quite happy to sort of move the responsibility on, and
Yeah,
I
it's
think
just
he
that.
deserves a break.
Yeah,
He's
just
become a
what's it
sideline
called?
umpire.
What's it called? Drop the mic.
Yeah, pretty much.
We are recording now, by the way.
It's all right.
I'm sure he'll laugh at it.
Come back.
Anyway, on that note then, and I think in the interest of time, we'll call it a wrap. So thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah, thank you,
See you next time.
Good night.
Okay.
Night, everybody.
Everyone, guys.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.